He's in there with them breathing the same air, right? And then he has the unmitigated gall, the audacity, right? To come and tell my sister that her mom should come over to her house that he don't even own. He don't even own the house. They don't pay no bills. And he talk about you can't come, don't come to. Hello. So today is May 19th, I think it is. May 19th, Tuesday, May 19th, 11:09 p.m. So we are a.m. Facts. It is definitely 11:09 a.m. We are starting a podcast better than we did last week, right? And we could have started it before 11. There were just some little minor things we wanted to work on and change, so that kind of pushed it. Because whenever you do something new, I'm looking over here. Whenever you do something new, there's always going to be a learning curve to it. So we decided, trying to take the pictures of the podcast before the podcast actually starts, as opposed to in the middle of the podcast. I feel like that's going to make the actual thumbnails look better. So that's what we want to do. And so Melissa's laughing. I don't know. Is there some more slander on there?
Yes.
Where?
Big ocean.
Oh, yeah. Well, so today's podcast is going to be about why I talk about people on the podcast as I do. Why I feel like I talk more on the podcast. Toxic relationships. We're talking about money as far as the economy is right now, and this whole Jeff Bezos thing, because people really annoy me with that. And it's really just the people. It can only be the uninformed. I've been trying to stop calling people dumb, because I don't think people are dumb. I think people do dumb things a lot of the time. So maybe if you do it more than 50% of the time, that makes you dumb. I don't know. But a lot of dumb people say this thing about Jeff Bezos, right? So I got that on there. And then also want to talk about a little bit more about the white-black thing, because that's something that's kind of been sitting on my heart. So I'm going to bring that up. So first things first, right? My sister has a boyfriend, right? My sister has a boyfriend, right? Now, I'm not a fan of her boyfriend, right? And I've expressed this to her. Me and him have gotten into little things before. I don't know what it is that causes these things, but I just know it annoys me. She likes him, and I love my sister, so that, I'm just gonna put up with it and deal with it, because that's her. And I'm gonna try and be as I don't want to say cordial. I'm gonna try to be respectful to her as possible, because, like I said, that's my sister. So here's an example of why I'm not a fan of this person, right? So we all know the coronavirus thing is happening, right? And we have a situation where fear removes people's intellectual ability, right? That's what I'm gonna put it like that, because everybody has heard the news on the television. People have been on social media, and everybody's afraid of the coronavirus. Everybody's, oh my God, the world is gonna end. It's so dangerous. Everybody's gonna die. It's gonna kill all the people, right? That's everybody's thinking, right? Nobody that thinks that has actually gone and looked up any data or read any actual reports or even looked into the coronavirus. If you have only got your information from the television, let me put it this way, it's even better. This is an even better way to put it. Just want to let y'all know I'm working on my enunciation. I realized that my T's be fucking me up. My T's and my A's. I be saying I say instead of A. So I'm working on that. Right? Right. Okay. So if you know anything about the coronavirus and you have not gone to do your own independent research, you know nothing about the coronavirus. That's how that works. Because that means that you have only heard of the coronavirus by something that somebody else has posted. You have not gone to look up to see whether or not that is true. You just take it at face value and go, okay, that is how it works, right? And if an agenda is being pushed, you're going to believe the agenda because everybody is saying the same things. not everybody, all of the same major platforms are saying the same things. But if you go and do your own research, you'll see that a lot of these things are actually incorrect. So the death toll that everybody thought was going to be astronomical is not. I guess the only thing that's really become a problem from the coronavirus is how everybody's reacting to it. The whole economy being shut down, everybody's kind of in a frenzy over that because they can't make money, and that is not a direct correlation of the coronavirus. That is people reacting to what they believe the coronavirus is, and that is causing a lot of the problems that we have now. And I used to kind of think it's fun to me to have conspiracy theories because it's just fun to think about, what could be happening here, what could be happening there. Also, I actually heard this recently on a podcast that conspiracy theories was actually a term made up to debunk people that are saying things that contradict what the government is telling you. So I think the CIA came up with the term conspiracy theories. If you look up the word conspiracy, it's supposed to be the definition is supposed to be a group of people coming together on something, right? That's literally what conspiracy means. But it's become synonymous and a buzzword for you're crazy or some ridiculous possible explanation for what's happening, right? And so it's fun to have conspiracy theories, or what they're used as now. It's a fun thing to talk about. But one thing I've realized as the more I do look into conspiracy theories, is that it's probably not as exciting as I want it to be, and the majority of people are just dumb. That's really all it comes down to. Is a lot of people are just dumb, and then when you have dumb people trying to take advantage of other dumb people, or smart people taking advantage of dumb people, or rich taking advantage of poor, then you have situations like the coronavirus where somebody will then try and use this crisis as a way of leverage for them to do or push an agenda that they have, right? So in layman's terms, what that means is somebody who runs a news organization may want to get more clicks, because it's the same thing as you on Instagram. You want to get more likes, CNBC wants to get more viewers, and MSNBC and Fox and TN, they all want to get more people to watch their show. So the same thing that you see on YouTube with the clickbait thumbnails and titles and everything like that is the same thing that happens for them, because they get paid from ad revenue. The same way like you do on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, they get paid the same exact way. So it would behoove them to go out and try and say the most salacious things to get more people to actually watch their videos. Now, truthful things aren't usually salacious because it's the truth. It's like, this is what happened. Now, there may be times where something salacious happens, where something crazy, like, oh my goodness, that was wild. But for the most part, it's pretty boring, especially if you're trying to be an adult when reporting on the news. It's not as fun to watch. It's not entertaining, right? However, the news is not supposed to be a place of entertainment. It's supposed to be a place of information. But information doesn't, as we probably already know, nobody watches the Discovery Channel. Not nobody, but the majority of people do not tune in to watch the Discovery Channel. You'll watch Love and Hip Hop. You'll watch this reality TV show. You'll watch a lot of things that don't give you actual information. They just let you sit there and pacify you so that you don't actually have to go out and do anything. You get to sit in your house and relax, right? That's what the news is doing right now. And they're fear-mongering. Why? Because when people are afraid, they want to sit and find information to conquer that fear. So, again, that's what they'll use to get more clicks. So like I said earlier, it's kind of boring to me, or not as fun when I realize this and I start to hear more things come out about how this person just happened to fuck up, that person just fucked up, everybody's just fucking up, and that's just if everybody in charge fucks up, we're gonna have a very large issue among the people who are not in charge. We're all gonna have to deal with their fuck up because they're in charge of everything that we have to do, whether it be the rules about going to the beach, eating food, going to play basketball. If they're the ones making the rules and they're not doing their research, they're only getting research, they're only looking into what the news says, and they're not actually going out and doing what they have to do to find out what's going on, they're going to make decisions based off of the same information that we have. But they make decisions. We don't make decisions. We just sit in the house or go outside and that's it. But they decide, okay, you're going to jail for not wearing a mask, and you guys can't play basketball, and you guys can't open your business. And it's different for me to think that it's a crazy coronavirus thing going on, or regular citizen to think that. But if you're in charge, it's a lot more importance on whether or not you think that, because you can close somebody's business, and you closing multiple businesses means that a lot of people don't actually eat. A lot of people don't actually get to go to work. They can't, feed their kids. They can't save whatever they want to do. There's a lot of things they can't do because somebody who didn't put any actual research to find out what's going on is making decisions. So that's kind of why it's like, I have fun conspiracy theories about, this person is trying to make money and the aliens are coming and, the towers and all the other stuff. It's fun to think about it, but it's like, although some of it may be true, even if it is true, it probably isn't as diabolical as we all think it is. Excuse me. So, I'm just gonna take a cup of water because that was just the intro to what I'm about to say and why my sister's boyfriend is fucking annoying. All right, so fear mongering, right? He's a person that has fallen for the trap of being afraid of everything, right? Now, a week or two ago, right? My mom? Oh, my mom had called me and told me that my sister's boyfriend said that he doesn't want her, my mother, to come over to my sister's house. And if he does come over to my sister's house, he does not want my mom to come over to my sister's house because my mom goes outside. And he doesn't want to have the coronavirus in the house so that he might end up catching it and bring it back to his family, his parents who are actually older, and then they might actually catch it and die, right? So he was pretty much making my sister choose between my mom and him, right? I think that that's a very toxic thing to do. I don't think you should ever have to make somebody make that choice, especially in a situation where you have not done the actual research. I feel like if he had done the research and come up to that conclusion, then sure. But there's no way you can have that conclusion if you've done the research. The research won't lead you to that conclusion. So he did that, right? Now that annoyed me because I know how close my sister and my mom are. They're like best friends. Like they talk on the phone all the time. They hang out all the time. They do things together. They're just close, right? So that's something that didn't really sit right with me like a lot. Like that really bothered me. So then I find out. So he said he's not gonna come over because my mom be outside walking around with even though she wears a mask and gloves. He's like, no, I don't want to. I feel like she might give it to me, and I don't think she should come. I don't think she should come to the house anymore, to my sister's house that he don't even live in. It's her house, and he's talking about where he feels like her mother should go, right? So there's that. I couldn't find out a day or two ago, I think it might have been yesterday, right, that my sister wanted him to get tested for the coronavirus to see if he has the coronavirus, right? Because maybe he is asymptomatic and he doesn't know that he had the coronavirus, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. Why did I find out that he had the coronavirus, right? He was talking all this shit about the coronavirus. Oh, it's so dangerous. I don't want your mom coming over here. I might give it to my family. They might die. And I forgot this very, very crucial part of this story, right? So you would think, oh my God, this guy, he must be a terrified person. Like he has to like be in the house wearing gloves, and he loves his mom, right? Everybody's thinking that he loves his mom, he loves his dad, he loves his sister, and all that good stuff, right? And I would be like, you know what? I might agree with you if I did not know that he works at an institution that has him face to face in a cubicle with people on a regular basis, right? Regular basis, face to face in a cubicle, small space. He's in there with them, breathing the same air, right? And then he has the unmitigated gall, the audacity, right, to come and tell my sister that her mom should come over to her house that he don't even own. He don't even own the house. They don't pay no bills. And he talk about you can't come, don't come to the house, right? Bruh, I'm getting annoyed. Because I'm like, bruh, you don't have, who are you to say that? Who are you? You know, you can't say that, right? So he had the coronavirus, right? And now I'm sitting here laughing, right? I'm laughing my ass off, right? For multiple reasons. I got the text, immediately bust out laughing, right? Now you're like, Donivan, you're so insensitive. Why would you just start laughing like that? That's so fucked up. How could you do that, right? And I'm still laughing because it's still funny, right? I'm going to tell you why it's funny to me, right? The reason why I had to laugh is because God has a funny way of showing people the truth, right? Now, he had the coronavirus about maybe 2 months ago or so, right? So that means that he has already been in the house with his family that he is so protective of getting the coronavirus. He's walking around breathing the same air that they're getting. Not only that, he is talking about he doesn't want my sister around my mom because she's outside getting it, even though he's at work catching the coronavirus, bringing it home to his mom. Now, there's two parts to why I think this is fucking hilarious, right? So not only is he outside, not only did he catch the coronavirus and go in the same house for multiple weeks because my sister was away in the military, so he was only at the house. He wasn't staying at her house, right? So he's in the house with his parents, passing the coronavirus around probably, and he didn't go to the hospital, right? When he had the symptoms, he didn't go to the hospital. Also, his parents probably got it, right? So he got it, didn't die, didn't have to go to the hospital. He's with his parents. Now, is it possible that they do not have the coronavirus? It is very possible that they do not have the coronavirus. Very possible is a very strong word. It is possible they have not got the coronavirus in the span of time that he was in the house with the coronavirus, right? Unlikely, though. So, he got it, didn't give it to them. They may have gotten it and didn't already die. And then he decides he wants to come and talk this fear-mongering nonsense about why nobody should come around my sister because they might get it and give it to him and he give it to his family even though he already has it. So now I would look at him and be like, so what do you say now? Huh? How do you feel now knowing that you are the one walking around with the coronavirus and you could have gave it to my sister and my mom, right? So you should have come to that house. Now I feel like at that point you should probably stay at your house because you might still have something. I don't know. Maybe it mutates. You get a new strain. Maybe all of a sudden you catch it again and now you're passing it around. Now if my sister and my mom had said to him, well, we don't think you should come to the house no more, he'd probably be like, I don't think I do. That's not right. I don't understand. They shouldn't say that. Nah, I don't want to hear that. So that's how I started it off today. Cause that's what it was on my chest from yesterday. Cause I was so annoyed for him to even say that. Then for the what is it? The irony of him to actually get it. He had it already. And this is the second point I was trying to say is this is how not dangerous the coronavirus is, right? So he had the coronavirus, right? My dad's friend, who I call my aunt, had the coronavirus. My uncle had the coronavirus. Melissa's mom had the coronavirus. Who else had it? My uncle had the coronavirus. Who else? Somebody else had it. Somebody else I can think of. My uncle, my aunt, my dad. Oh, my dad's girlfriend, my dad's friend, and freaking this guy. Right now. Your dad's girlfriend's family. Right, my dad's girlfriend's family who gave it to her, gave it to my dad. Right. Now, this is why I be so annoyed. Right now, I've been battling with being annoyed about this because I understand that everybody's life is a product of their own decisions, right? And I know that as much as I want to blame it on other people, which I still think my dad was murdered by his girlfriend and my aunt and the doctors, mostly all three of them people, right? At the end of the day, he made the choice to go there, right? He did it. He could have said no. He could have fought it and been like, I don't care, I'm not doing it. Not only did he go there, he allowed them to convince him to put him on a ventilator. There's nobody can make him go on a ventilator if he doesn't want to. So at the end of the day, he made that choice. He made the wrong choice, but they had a play in it by pushing him to get on the ventilator, right? So I can't necessarily be too mad at them, but I can't say I'm not mad at them. It's hard for me to juggle between if I'm mad at them for murdering him or if I'm like, well, it was his decision to make that choice. It was his, yeah, right. It was his choice to make that decision, right? So like I said, all these people got it. All these people. I'm gonna go through the list again. I'm gonna go down the list of how it started, the family tree of coronavirus right now. So we got at the top my dad's girlfriend's family. I don't know if one or two of them had it, but they gave it to her. So we got one person gave it to her. So that's two. The sister gave it to her, right? Then she gave it to my dad. That's three people right now. My dad gave it to his friend who lives in the house and his brother, right? So we got 1, 2, and we got two people underneath. So that's 4. What happened? So we got 4, right? And then we got who was it? those 4 people got it. So, right. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Melissa's mom is not related to this tree, but that's a 5th person. And then you have this guy who has it. That's 6 people, right?
Pretty sure I had it.
I'm pretty sure me and Melissa had it, but we didn't get tested for it, and I don't plan on getting tested for it, for any antibodies or anything. Because for what? My sister asked me, my mom and my sister asked me this yesterday, would I get tested for the virus? And I'm like, no. For what? Like, why would I need to put that mental stress on my brain to get tested for it if I either had it or didn't have it? I don't want to know. I don't care. I don't want to fucking know. I don't think it's that serious. I don't care. I'm not trying to find out if I had it or not. I don't care. I'm pretty sure I had it though, and I'm pretty sure because mine was pretty bad. And Melissa got something that was also similar. And funny enough, right around the time that she got it, I was joking about it because this was before anybody even said it was a thing. I'm like, you probably got the coronavirus. Like, that's around the time that it's happened. So that had to be like February-ish, right? After February?
It was definitely like around March.
Okay, so yeah. Oh, yeah. So probably beginning of March, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So either way, it was around the time before it got to be like a thing. I was like, oh, you could have that. It was like the coronavirus, like the boogeyman, right? That's how it was at that point. So now it's like the coronavirus, like there's a strong C there, right? And we all got it, possibly, right? Us two not sure. They definitely got it. They all got tested and got it. One person died. He didn't die. He was murdered. One person was murdered out of all of these 6 people or 8 people, right? My dad. You know why he was put in a position to be murdered? Because he went to the hospital. Now, people are probably going to say, Donivan, the hospital. People are being saved in the hospital, right? Oh, my God. How can you say? Are you telling us don't go to the hospital? Yes. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying do not go to the hospital. Why? Because odds show, right? If you look at the numbers, look at them yourself. Go look at different sources of numbers, whether it be from hospitals, whether it be from news outlets. Take all of them together and make a decision based off of all the different resources or sources that give you information about what's going on, right? So if you go to the hospital, you have a higher chance of dying already if you're in the hospital based off of having the coronavirus. Why? My belief is, you're in a situation where multiple things are happening, right? You're around a lot of people that had the coronavirus, right? You are taken away from your family. So you're probably going to be in a depressive state. Now, we already know that if you're in stress, your cortisol levels will increase. That can also be damaging to your body, right? From what I know, they put you in a room by yourself, right? Then they give you a bunch of drugs. Some drugs that will either, 1, not interact properly with each other, or 2, negatively affect your ability to fight off the virus that you have, right? So they do all these things together. And let's say you survived that. You probably would have survived it already if you was already at home, right? You would have been fine. But now they gave you all these drugs, and now you think that the reason that I'm doing better is because I went to the hospital and they gave me a bunch of drugs. Probably not. That's probably not what's happening, right? Then let's say they give you all these drugs, you can't breathe, right? They go, oh my God, I need a ventilator. Right? Was it intubation? Intubation. I think that's what it's called. That's when they take this dirty ass pipe and they put it down your throat and then they put you to sleep. Well, pump people actually a lot. I'm awake. But they put you to sleep, right? With this dirty bacteria-filled tube down your throat, and then they try and pump air into your chest when you don't need that, right? Now, the problem with that is it's literally, in my opinion, the equivalent to a asthma pump. Just a super, super, super big, strong asthma pump, right? Now, asthma pump is steroids, right? So they are doing the work of your lungs for you, right? So they're manually increasing and decreasing either the pressure in your lungs or how your lungs get oxygen in, right? So what that does is it actually makes your body too weak to do it by itself. So the longer you are on a ventilator, the weaker it is or harder it is for you to breathe, right? Now, you would think, but wow, that can't be true, Donivan. How do you know that? You're not a doctor. Well, you know how I know that? Because I've seen doctors say it. There are multiple people that are saying this. There are doctors who were doing it before who are not doing it now. And if you've seen in the beginning, they started off doing it and they're like, wait a minute, this shit is not making any sense. It's not working. And then the numbers came out like, wait a minute, maybe nobody should be on a ventilator. Now, I'm listening to an interview recently. These numbers have to be fact checked, so do this research yourself. I don't remember. It's just the numbers that I heard. That you could check this real quick for me. What is the percentage of deaths of people that go on a ventilator? right? I've heard 90% of people die. I've heard 80% of people die. I've heard 70% of people die. These are some of the numbers I've heard of the amount of people that die on a ventilator. Now, why would you take the chance of your life of something killing you at a 90% rate? Forget 90%, because that's high as shit. 70% rate. And think about this. Like, I'm not even going to go 70% rate. If you got on a plane, right? Or if you went and drove a car, and the chances of you dying from that car ride or that plane ride was 50%. That means 1 out of every 2 planes that went in the air crashed. How often would you fly? You probably wouldn't fly that much. I know I wouldn't fly that much. I'm not gonna be flying if I could look out the window and go, that plane's gonna crash, that plane's gonna crash, that one's probably gonna crash. Out of 10 planes, 5 of these are gonna crash. Now, that's at 50% clip. Imagine looking out the window and going, probably every plane that's on this in the airport right now is probably gonna crash. You will be hard pressed to find the one that doesn't crash. That's how the numbers are looking right now for the ventilator nonsense, right? So this is why I say people are getting murdered by their loved ones because they're not doing their own research. In my case, that's what happened. My aunt and his girlfriend and their family that actually convinced him to do that were the ones that felt like, this is how it should be. What does it say? The study. This is from PolitiFact. The study found that 38 ventilator patients recovered and were released, compared with 282 that died. Do you know what that percent says? 88% of people died. This is what website is that? They can go check it themselves. This is called PolitiFact. PolitiFact. Can you do me a favor? Can you look this up on 2 different websites, 2 other websites, so that we have a little range of what the numbers are out there. I'm curious whether random websites come up about ventilator death. So that's that, and I forgot how I even got to that, but it's just annoying me about this. So it pretty much, I probably was talking about that. Hold on, the water break. Okay, so this is CNN. About a quarter of coronavirus patients who needed ventilators to help them breathe died within the first few weeks of treatment. Right? This is a study of New York's largest health system showed. It found that overall about 20% of COVID-19 patients treated at Northwell Health died. 20%. And 25% of, 20% of patients at the hospital died, and 25% of those 20%, no.
25% of those placed on ventilators. So that's a separate figure than the ones that.
So I found out that 20% of people died.
20% of people overall died, but 25% of the people that were on ventilators died. So 1 in 4.
So. Oh, excuse me. But wouldn't that be 1 in 4 of the ones that died?
Because the 20% that died, they all necessarily were on ventilators.
Okay. So 1 out of 4 people, right? So like I said earlier, I gave you 90, 80, and 70%. Those are the numbers that I gave you. Before that, there was an article that had 88%, right? This is a new article, this is fine. This is what, and mind you, I'm not even doing intensive research. Right? This is not intensive research that I would be doing. This is just go take 3 Googles real quick and find out what else could look for alternative information to what's actually happening. And they said that 25% of those placed on ventilators died, right? Now, this same article says other smaller reports have indicated that patients who need ventilation are unlikely to survive. Can you scroll down a little bit? This is the study published in a journal of the American Medical Association. Describes the outlook for patients with severe COVID-19 disease. The report originally said that 12% of patients needed ventilators, right? So 100 out of 100 people, 12 needed a ventilator, right? Out of that 12, 10 died. It's at 88%. I don't know what my math is. It's about 80, about 10, right, out of 12.
Maybe 10 and a half.
Yeah, 10 and a half. So somebody half died, right? So that's what you got for that. Can you do one more? Just a random search for another one. We're gonna do 3. Just to do 3, this takes about 10 minutes easy. 10 minutes easy for you to talk to your friends when they say something stupid to you like, yo, ventilators are really helpful, man. Go to the hospital. You can say, yeah, I ain't do a lot of research, but I did see, like, yesterday, like, how would you explain that, like, these articles are saying that 90% of people are dying or 70% of people are dying? Like, how is that like, how is that happening? All right. So, let's see. What's mechanical? Which article? I feel like that's the same number. Is
They might be getting their
doing the same. That's what I'm saying. You can check it though. What source is this? Can you scroll? It would say it. That's like, wait, go back up to the top, to wherever that was that you were at. Go back to the top. Health Day News Artists. Yeah. I don't know if that's the last one that we just saw too. Okay, scroll down. I'm gonna read this number and just do one more after this. That's like, I'm trying to find something a little bit different. Overall death. I'm gonna read that. Among the 2,634 patients for whom outcomes were known, the overall death rate was 21%, but it rose to 88% for those who received mechanical ventilation. Oh, this is the Northwell Health COVID. It's the same thing as before. All right, so we're gonna try to find something else for you guys, some other source. I remember back in the.
I think they're getting it from the same. Maybe.
Put a specific state.
Yeah. Because right now this is all I get about New York because we're in New York.
Yeah, because I seen the interview I watched the other day. They were saying that one dude said 90, another guy said 70, and they said that it's probably 80. One dude has said it's 80%, and he said, well, it depends where you go, in Nevada or Las Vegas, something like that. He said 90% at that hospital that he works at. So, yeah, it seems the same thing.
This one's in favor of ventilators.
Okay, this one is in favor of ventilations. When was this posted? This is May 15th. Okay, so can you go scroll? It's NPR. COVID-19 has given ventilators Okay, here we go. COVID-19 has given ventilators an undeservedly bad reputation, says Dr. Colin Cook, an associate professor of medicine in the Division of Pulmonary and Critical Care at the University of Michigan. It's always, hold on, I'm gonna get to that. It's always disheartening. This is a quote from her. I think it's a guy, or I don't know. I feel like it might, I don't know. It's always disheartening to know that some people are out there saying if you end up on a ventilator, it's a death sentence, like Donivan. Donivan is saying that, which is not what we are experiencing. And I don't think it's what the data are showing. I don't know why they said R. Maybe she said R. That's weird. Early reports from China, the UK, and Seattle found mortality rates as high as 90% among patients on ventilators. And more recently, a study of some New York hospitals seemed to show a mortality rate of 88%. But Cook and others say the New York figures was misleading because the analysts included only patients who had either died or been discharged. What? So folks who were actually in the midst of fighting the illness were not being included in the statistic of patients who were still alive, he says. Those patients made up more than half of all people in the study. And Cook suspects that many of them will survive. We think the mortality for folks that end up on ventilators I'm making a face for people that can't hear or see me, because she's pro ventilator, or he is pro ventilator, right? And then I read this paragraph and I'm just like, okay. We think that mortality for folks that end up on ventilator with COVID-19 is going to end up being somewhere between probably 25% and up to maybe 50%. So she's saying that at its worst, at the best it could possibly be, 1 out of 4 people are going to die. And this person is saying at the worst, 50%. So at the best chance you have is 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4. That's about the same chance of catching herpes. So if you don't care about herpes, get on a ventilator. It's 1 in 4 people can get it. If you never had herpes before, here's how you go. If you have never had herpes before, I would suggest. Interesting. Because herpes is kind of like the COVID-19. You might be asymptomatic for herpes, so you don't know if you have it, and you might have it. But if you find out you have it, I would suggest probably not being the person that goes on a ventilator, because clearly you have bad luck. Actually, better enough. If you do have herpes, I would suggest to go on a ventilator, because you already got bad luck catching herpes. So what are the odds you're gonna get herpes and die on a ventilator? It's probably low. But if you don't have herpes, I would probably say go on a ventilator, because maybe you're lucky. Maybe you're one of the lucky ones from not getting herpes. And wait, if you don't have herpes, you're gonna die on a ventilator. Yeah. So if you don't have herpes, don't go on a ventilator. Don't do that. If you don't have herpes, don't go on a ventilator. Remember that. If you have herpes, take your chances. You already got herpes. It's a tough world out there with herpes. All right. So you go back to the thing. 1 out of 4 people have herpes. I mean, honestly, the number probably went up by this point. But herpes is very similar to coronavirus. All right. You can be asymptomatic, not know you have it until you get a flare up or some shit. So. All right. So one of the things about me, right, is that I will talk about people on the podcast, right? And there's a reason why I will do that. And the reason why I will talk about people on the podcast is because, how can I put this? I want to say it circumvents. It removes one of the hurdles of telling somebody about themselves, right? So an example of that would be this. If I go and tell somebody, hey, I don't like your shirt, right? They're going to instantly be defensive of what I'm saying, right? And as soon as I open up my mouth and say, hey, Charles, I'm not a fan of your red shirt. They, oh, well, fuck, you watch your fucking blue shirt that you wear. That shit's fucking ugly, right? They're not hearing what I'm saying. They automatically get into defensive mode and they want to fight back, right? They go, if I could defend myself, that means that I'm right. It's like, no, even if you do insult me, it made me feel bad. That still does not mean that your shirt is not ugly, right? It does not mean that you are not doing things that you can improve on or work on, right? And this is why I say on the podcast, because when I say it to somebody's face, they want to be defensive or they shut down. We can't actually have that dialogue. So when I say on the podcast, and this is, I'm going to tell you the other part of this too, the underlying, one of the underbellies or the underwritings of why I do on the podcast. But they'll be more defensive or they'll shut down when I have this conversation with them. So when I do on a podcast, it allows them to sit down and just listen to what I'm saying. Because if you're sitting down and listening to what I'm saying, you're more likely to listen and go, you may get mad, what you going to do? But you're going to fight the television? You're going to yell at me on the screen? I can't hear you. There's no feedback that you're going to get from you screaming at me on the TV or you cursing me on the TV or feeling upset. And you're not going to get that feedback. So the only thing you have left to do is to A, listen to it, B, turn it off, or C, try to call me to justify what I said on the podcast. It's the only 3 options you have, because at the end of the day, you want to defend yourself. And it's not about defending yourself. It's about assessing, is what is being said true? If it is true, should I fix it? And if it's not true, then why is this person saying this thing, right? Once you've assessed it, then you can try and figure out, okay, how should I respond to this, right? But if you don't assess it and you just do option B and turn it off, it's gonna sit with you. It's not going away, because if it's true, it's gonna sit in your brain forever, and it's not gonna go anywhere. Because at the end of the day, you can't run from your thoughts. No matter what you do, you can smoke, you can drink, you can have sex, you can work out, you can try and put a bunch of things in front of your way to forget you, or to, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? You can put a bunch of things to distract you from your actual thoughts. But at the end of the day, when you're laying in your bed and nobody else is around but you, and the lights are off, your thoughts are not going anywhere. And even if you decide that you want to try and distract yourself from your thoughts, the minute that you're outside, let's say you're running or playing basketball, when you sit down, you're going to have that thought. When you're walking and somebody wears something that reminds you of that thought's going to come back to you. You're never going to escape that thought. And it's going to be a long depression that you have until you fix that thought, right? And people feel like, well, if I can fight the person or metaphorically kill that person, then that will help me get rid of the thought. And that does not help you get rid of the thought, right? All it does is, this is why people in gangs, when they kill people, they don't feel better after doing it. Because it's like, the problem that they had emotionally did not go away. It's like, I got rid of, honestly, it's probably the worst thing you can do. Because now that you've actually killed the person, either metaphorically or literally, there's no way for you to reconcile with the problem that you have, which is why I'm also against plastic surgery and things like that, because it comes from a depressive state, or a depressive emotional state. So you're trying to hide from your emotion. Maybe you feel like you have a little butt, but it's not about having a little butt. It's like you don't actually love yourself. You feel like, okay, I need to get a fake butt so that people will validate me, make me feel good. And then you get the fake butt, and every day you look in the mirror, you have to tell yourself and look, and I know this happens. You think to yourself, damn, my butt is fake. And you'll try to ignore it and be like, well, I mean, it is fake, but I'm still a bad bitch. Or, you have this weave on and you go, yeah, I know it's, those days, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it happens to women, I'm assuming, you take off your weave, you look in the mirror, you go, damn, I look mad different. Like, fuck it though, I'm a bad bitch, I don't care, right? It's like, all right, fine, sure. But at the end of the day, you're not hiding from those things. And they're always going to do, that insecurity that you have will seep into the rest of your life. So that's why I talk about it on the podcast, right? Now, the other underwriting of why I talk about things on the podcast, and here's the thing too, I'll say my problem that I have with somebody to them. And that's why I know that when I say it to them, it doesn't work. It's still on. I know this because when I talk to them, they want to be defensive, and I realize that, okay, what I'm saying is not getting through. So me continuing to do that is not going to solve the problem, right? So that's why I'll take, if they want to talk to me about it, I'll talk to them about it. But I don't want to get into a fighting match about it, because I'm like, listen, this is what I think. Do you think this too? No, you disagree. Why do you disagree? And why did you do the thing that I said on the podcast that you did, right? So the underwriting of the reason as to why I talk about it on the podcast is because it comes down to the power dynamic, right? So if I talk about somebody on the podcast, right, in a negative light, then they will feel like I have power over them, right? They'll feel like, oh my God, I need to get my power back, right? Oh my, I can't believe that this person said this thing about me. If I can defeat them, I can get the power back, right? And you can't defeat me through the screen, right? It can't happen. So you have, like I say, this is why I gave you option C, is where you have to call me, right? Because you have to feel like you got your power back by making me feel like I'm powerless, right? And I understand that when I understand that power is not static, right? And static means it doesn't move. It doesn't stay with one person or stay with the other person. I understand it goes back and forth depending on what situation you're in. So I may be playing basketball at my regular park, and I may be powerful in the park because everybody picks me up on the team. I'm the best player in the park. All the girls want to talk to me. I'm that powerful person in that park, right? But if I go to a different park, I'm not that same person. I might not be the best person at that new park. The people may not know me at that new park. So I don't have the power in that park. The problem is that people think that they carry that everywhere they go. They carry that, well, if I was powerful over here, I should be powerful over there too. And that's when you have these problems, right? Now, me personally, I like to stay more so in the middle. Like, if I go somewhere and relating this to basketball in this situation, if I go somewhere and I'm the best player in the park, I'm the best player in the park. Now, I will talk shit if I'm the best player in the park, but I will not talk shit if I'm not. Like, how can I put that? Like, I'm not going to go to a place that I don't know and act out of character around people I don't know. I think that's the best way to probably put it. So when I talk about somebody on the podcast, right, this is why I say it's the underwriting of the other stuff, because those other things are what you can say to somebody publicly as far as option A, B, and C, and they can go, oh, okay, I get it. But when you use the word power and talk about it like that, people don't understand the dynamics of how power works. And that is why somebody would want to have to call me or they have to sit there and listen to it. And I think that it's a lot easier for them to hear it on the podcast because they feel the way that they feel like the way that they feel like they're getting information is in a sense a form of power over me, right? Or a form of power because they feel like they're able to eavesdrop on a conversation that they're not in. So it's almost as, and it's kind of complicated if you can follow it. I'll maybe explain it later, but if you were walking past a room and somebody was talking about you in that room, you have a sense of power because you were able to hear what they were saying about you. And it may resonate with you more because you feel like you had power to hear that conversation without that person knowing you heard the conversation, right? And that's how the podcast works. I don't know who hears the podcast. I don't know who listens to the podcast, but they will be more inclined to internalize what I'm saying because they got the information from somebody else. Somebody else would be YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Deezer, and Apple Music. Those are other sources you might hear it from, right? So if you hear from all these other sources, then you may feel like, oh snap, I got the drop on this person. Like I was able to find out what they said about me before they told me. All right, but it's like no, you heard it from me through that. But it still sits with your body the same, so you'll internalize it more, and that is why I feel like it's better talking for me to talk to people about the pop. That is why I feel like it is better for me to talk about people on the podcast as opposed to them, at least originally at first, because they can come and talk to me later about it, as an adult, and I feel like they'll actually be able to understand what I'm saying more. So, another thing on the podcast that I like to do is talk about myself, right? I like to talk more about my life on the podcast as opposed to in person. If anybody who knows me will know that I don't really hold anything back. If we're having a conversation, I'll say what kind of sex toys I buy, or I'll say that when I was younger, this crazy thing happened to me, or I'll talk about my life. I don't really care, right? But I do that with the understanding of knowing that other people who are listening to me or talking to me are not going to say those things, even though they feel the same things that I'm saying, right? So I don't actually get to have a legit dialogue between me and the other person. It's just me talking and them listening because they want to say what I'm saying, but they still feel like maybe they'll get judged for saying what they think. So when I come on here, it allows me to actually get all of my thoughts out without having to worry about having a short form conversation with somebody. Because if I'm in the park, if I'm on the street, if I'm in my building and I'm talking to somebody, it's not a real actual conversation. It's usually just like a, hey man, what's going on? What you doing? Yo, that's crazy. What? Nah, you going to that place? Yo, I used to go there. Me too? Nah, I can't believe you used to do that. So you know that place over there on 3rd Avenue? Yeah. You going there too? Now I can do this all day long. I can have this conversation with myself, with a fake person all day long because it's the same responses over and over again. Because it's weird. People are talking to you because they feel like they should, even though they want to, but they don't have the time to do it. So it's like they call it the elevator, I guess, talk or small talk. It's like I'm going somewhere, but I saw you, but I don't want to just give you a head nod and walk off because then I think that you might think that I'm rude for doing that. But I know that if I talk to you, I'm gonna be late to where I'm going. So we have this like quick small talk where we both talk really fast and try to get our point across really quickly and then try to have a very respectful exit without being too rude. And this dynamic of this conversation annoys me. So I can do it because I understand the social norms of it, but it's annoying. So that's why I come on here. You'll hear more about my actual life. You'll hear more about how I actually think and process the world because we can actually have a conversation. There are certain times where it has happened where I can sit down with somebody and we can actually talk about like anything, have a conversation about stuff. But it's very rare that it happens. So I figured the podcast would be the best place for that. And one of my favorite topics is power. And one way that power, or one important aspect of power is how it affects relationships between boyfriend and girlfriend, right? And power is intermingled with toxic relationships. Oh, excuse me. So this is gonna be deep. All right. So I want you guys to get your popcorn. You want to tune in. This is gonna be some information that I think people should know. Right. So I used to study pickup art. Right. How to pick up women, and I used to run game, and not like any game that you probably think it is. It's not a game that I was running, because if you know that it's game, then it's not game, because true game is no game at all, right? Shout out to Dante Nero for that line, right? I don't know if he got where he got it from, but whatever. But that's true game. True game is when you don't know I'm running game, and anything that you think is a cliche of running game is not what actual game is. Game is being exactly what you need me to be, right? That's game, right? So if I can be what you need me to be, you'll give me some pussy, right? And that's the first basis of it, right? Now, depending on who you are, will dictate what you need for whatever, the scenario with. Maybe you need a guy who wants to fuck you really well, or maybe you need a guy who wants to spend money on you. Maybe you need a guy who wants to hug you and lay in the bed with you. Maybe you need a guy who wants to talk to you and, encourage you for things like that. Whatever it might be, you may want those things. And good game is a guy knowing how to be those things for you, right? Now, in the beginning of running game, I had to stretch my limits to find out how true was game really, right? Now, what I learned was that game is this is my summary of how the game works, and that's picking up women. The more power I can take away from the girl, the easier it will be for me to have sex, right? Now, that's a very broad statement, and I'm going to explain exactly how that works. Power is in every aspect of life, right? The more powerful I can show her that I am, and the more power I can take from her, the more that she'll want to be with me and have sex with me, right? So, two things will happen. One is what they say about the innate instinct of women who want to have sex with powerful men, right? So a couple of examples of how a man can show power, right? Now, I'm going to explain to you the power part, and then I'll link it to exactly how it relates to, or what we do in the real world that girls like, right? If I have control over, if I drive a car, right? Girls like guys who drive cars, right? For the most part, that's what a lot of girls like guys who drive cars. I don't really know a girl who doesn't like a guy who drives a car. They may not care if you don't have a car, but if you do have a car, and they see you driving a car, especially if you have your nice strong forearm, me, I'm kind of lean, so if I put my arm on the wheel, you're gonna see my veins glistening in the sun from the mirror, right? And I got this nice brown melanin skin, so you're gonna be like, damn, like I see how he look driving that car with one hand, like that shit looks fire, right? Now, my theory is this. Still good? My theory is this, right? One of the big reasons why girls like guys who drive cars is because they have power over a very large object, right? They have the ability to move this car the way they want it to move with one hand. And if you can drive with one hand, it's honestly probably the sexiest thing you can do as a guy in a car. Like one hand on the steering wheel, one hand on her side. Honestly, I think if you can do stick shift, that's probably even sexier to girls too, because it shows how much you have even more power over a car, because you're able to drive with one hand, and the other hand you gripping that stick shift, and you're able to move back and forth, right? See, Melissa getting turned on. She's like, "Ooh, shit!" She's like, "Oh my god, a stick shift? Well, you could drive a stick shift. I can't drive one though, but I know girls probably like that, because they like to see. Like, imagine you're in the car driving, right? You got one hand on the steering wheel, and the other one, the car makes a sound, and you're able to move it when it needs to be moved. It turns girls on. Now, the reason why is because you're showing the power that you have over that car, right? That makes girls wet. That's one thing. Another thing is, I learned this through test, and I'll explain that in a second. Well, being on time, right? Being on time is very sexy to women, right? Why is it sexy to women to be on time? About that shit, 2 hours. I was like, God damn. Why is it on time? Why is it important to be on time for women? It shows you have control over time and over your life. For you to be on time means you have to be able to control a lot of other things going around in the world. So for you to be on time, you have to be able to know when the trains are leaving. You have to be able to get up and get dressed and be ready on time. You have to be able to have your life planned out well enough for you to be on time. You have control and power over your life enough so that you can choose when and where to be at what time based off whatever time that you decide to be there. Girls like that. Why is that? Because it's powerful. It's like, wow, he's able to just be here on time at 3:30 with all the different variables that can happen. There could be traffic, the train could not work, he could have lost his toothbrush, he could have woke up late, but he's here on time. That's a very powerful thing to do, to be somewhere on time, right? That's two. The third thing is going outside when it's raining, right? It's the small thing too. Now, I learned this because one time when I was a girl and she was testing me by pretty much, it's called a shit test. You can look it up. I'll put it like a little description right here what a shit test is. And she shit tested me by making a joke about why didn't I know it was going to be this hot outside or something like that. Like, why you didn't tell me it was going to be this hot, right? Now, I'm supposed to be able to have power. If I can't control the sun, I should be able to control how I react to the sun. So you aren't supposed to be saying things like, oh, it's too hot, or it's too cold, or oh my God, it's raining. Because if you are a man, you should have power over these type of things. Now, an example of having power over weather would be, it's supposed to rain today, so you have an umbrella. So when it rains, boom, you have an umbrella. If it's cold, you have gloves, so your hands aren't in your pocket. If it's hot outside, you have the clothes to wear for it to be, so you just be comfortable outside. So you're not outside complaining about, damn, it's mad hot outside. I got on a jacket, a sweater, I got on 3 shirts, I got on a hat, and I got on. If you have the power over yourself, then you'll be able to be a person that looks at the weather to tell, okay, how is it gonna feel outside today? What should I wear outside today? How should I dress outside today? What accessory should I bring? Should I bring an umbrella? Should I bring a water bottle? Because imagine this, right? Let me give you an example of a guy. Right, let me give you just some water before I give this example, because I know girls gonna get real wet when I say this. So, I think I'm watching it get mad wet, right? Let's gonna get wet first. Watch. So boom, imagine this, right? You go outside, right? See, she already hear my voice. She's like, oh my God. You go outside, right? And it's hot. And you just like, damn, it's so hot. I ain't know it's gonna be this hot. And you know what your man does? Gives you a water bottle, right? He's like, listen, I got you. It's already cool. You're like, what the fuck? How you even know? Why he had a water bottle? And it's cool? How you do that shit, right? You're like, oh my God. Right? Now that's cute. That's a nice little one thing real quick, right? Now he's just like, oh my God, it's hot. He's like, oh, listen, I got you an umbrella too, just in case. And I'm holding for you because I know it was gonna be hot today. We was gonna be on the beach in the sun. And I want to make sure that you wouldn't get burned out here in the sun. Listen, I got you. I got the water for you, and I got the umbrella. She's like, oh my God, how you know it's gonna need umbrellas? Because I know you. I know that you want an umbrella. I know how you are. See? You see? I know how you are when it gets hot outside. So I brought an umbrella, right? And then y'all went to the beach this day, right? You leave the beach. You know why you leave the beach? Because it's raining. You have an umbrella. Everybody else around you is running because it's raining outside, but not you. Y'all don't have to run because you have an umbrella. Because your man knew to bring an umbrella. Not only did he bring an umbrella, he knew it might rain. So you know what else he got you? He had you rain boots, just in case it rained, because he didn't want your feet to get wet while you're outside. Now, what kind of man would this be? Can you imagine this being some ancient dude that is bringing water to the beach because he knows you might need it and be thirsty? You don't have to walk over to the vending machine to get it. He already got it in the bag, and it's cool. He got an umbrella for you. He brought the blanket for you to lay on the sand. At the end of the day, you sitting there and you're like, what kind of man is this? How is he so in charge of everything? I'm just playing with her hair right now. See, she's like, oh my God. She's like, I see at the corner of my eye, I just see it. Right? She's like, ooh, listen, I know how the game works, okay? If I wanted to run the game, I run the game. I run the game through the camera. That's how good I am at this shit, right? So, at the end of the day, right, you with a guy, and this is why having a car is important also, because let's say you're at the beach and it starts raining. Now, girls don't mind getting in on a bus, right, to go back home. But you have the umbrella to walk her. You're not running in the rain. You have a big umbrella too, because all of this stuff matters. You get an umbrella that's big enough for both of y'all. You hold the umbrella. She's still dry under the umbrella. Everybody else around her is running, and you know where y'all going to? Y'all are laughing. She feels so comfortable that she's laughing in the rain with you as you guys walk to the car that you have. Cause she's not getting on a dirty bus. She gets in the car. She could change her shirt, her pants. Y'all can laugh in the car. She don't have no worries. She's in the car happy because she had the water bottle. She had the umbrella when it was sunny. She had the umbrella when it rained. Her feet didn't get wet. And you know what you do after that? You take her out and you make some jokes in the car. And then you know what you do after that? You put your left arm on the steering wheel and you put your right arm on that stick shift. And you make sure that you control that car. You have power over that car. When you speed off from that parking lot, her pussy gonna get wet. When you get home, you're gonna be fucking shit out of her. Okay? This is how the game works. The more things you have power over, the better and easier it is for you to get pussy. Now, that's one way for you to get pussy. That's one way, right? Now, the other way, and this is about toxic relationships, right? So, toxic relationships are probably the easiest ways to get pussy, right? Because a toxic girl wants to have power over you, right? She's like, how can I inflict my power onto you because I feel so powerless in my life that I want to control you, right? So, it's pretty much like this. I'll give you an example of how this works. You have a line that goes from 1 to 15, right? It's like one of those number lines when you were in grade school, right? So, if the girl is trying to have power over you, it'll look something like this, right? She is trying to use everything she can to have power over you. Now, if a guy knows how to run game, then he can use that to his advantage because she's going to be trying to do little corny things like, I can't come see you today because it's raining outside, right? Now, what a real man who knows game will say something like, if he really wants to see the girl, he'll say, you know what, listen, clearly, I can tell that you're not into this. No, I wouldn't even say that because that's not something I would use. I would say that, what would I say up in the game? I wouldn't say that either. Okay, so I would say, if a girl said, and this, you got to catch it real quick. So here we go. I'm going to give you another little segment of how the game will be run, right? So girls want to test you to see if you that dude or not, right? So they'll do little shit like, you guys make plans to go hang out, right? And she'll be like, you call her, see if she's ready. You go, hey, you know, I'm about to be over there at 7 o'clock. And she goes, Once I hear, I'm like, you know what? You seem unsure. We'll try again another day, right? Because that sound is enough to let me know that she's about to do some bullshit, right? She about to, if I don't check that sound immediately, it's gonna be, I forgot. Can we reschedule? Can we try another time? Oh my, it's 7. I thought you meant 9. I made plans with my friend for 7. I didn't even know. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I keep doing this, right? So before we even get to all those bullshit ass lines, immediately once I hear, I go, you know what? You seem unsure about this. We'll try again another day, right? Now, in the game, it's called a takeaway. So I take away the power that she would have to tell me that she's not going to see me that day, right? So what she does is to get that power back, and she goes, wait, no, I was joking. I mean, I could cancel those. I could cancel. No way, I could cancel it, right? That's what she'll do because she feels like the power was taken away from her and she wants it back, right? So she'll keep doing things like that to get the power back as long as you know that she's doing these things. But if you give her the power, right, then you'll lose. Now, this is how you would give her the power in a situation like that. If she said, I just can't, I thought I was gonna, and whatever she comes up with, right? You go, oh, don't worry, whatever day you wanna, I can hear the girl's pussy right now getting dried up. I hear it. Oh, don't worry, I'ma just come whenever you want to see me. I could just come. Oh, this is the guy, by the way. I could just come see you whenever you want to come see. Like, whatever. I come at 7. You go with your friends out at 9. I come at 10:30. No? All right, how about this? When you get off of work from your friends, and then I'll call you at night, and then I'll come see you in the morning. And the girls will be like, I'm okay, right? That's how you lose the power. So, what will happen is, this is about toxic relationships, because at the end of the day, a girl who is also mature will not forget that she has plans like that, right? And she will actually, if something does come up, she'll say, listen, it won't be in that weird ass voice that they do, it will just be, listen, I actually made plans, I forgot, and I really want to see you. Can we reschedule this for tomorrow at this time and this place and this thing, right? Boom, that's how an adult handles it. Children and toxic girls or men also don't handle it like that. They make it an emotional war. They want to make you feel bad about whatever it is that they're doing or that you're doing, right? So, with toxic girls, the way you get pussy is You just keep dangling the power in front of them, right? So they decide, maybe you get to the point, this is where the 10 to 15 thing is, right? They figure, okay, if I could use my looks to get him and make him do what I want, then that means that I have power over him, right? And when you check that and you go, listen, I don't care about that, or you look ugly. When you say something like that, now they realize that their power is not in their looks. They go, damn, my looks can't get him to do what I want. Okay, maybe if I cook for him. And then you go, yo, this food ain't even that good. They're like, damn, that shit didn't work either. Okay, if I buy him stuff. You go, okay. And you buy him something, he's like, nah, that shit kind of trash. She's like, damn, that shit didn't work either. I don't know what else can I do. Like, he's not swooning over me like the other guy. I don't know what I could do else. Maybe if I suck his dick and give him some pussy, I think that will make him do what I want, right? And this is how girls get trapped. This is how, when I was running the game, how girls get fucked up. Because they're trying to control me. And they will use their pussy to attempt to control me. But at the end of the day, all I want to know is some pussy. So once I fuck, they may think, cause let's say I come fast, right? Come fast. I'm battling with saying that because I feel like I don't know if I came fast, but I probably did. I'm pretty sure I definitely have come fast a lot before in my life. So I'm gonna just say yeah. But let's say I'm talking to a girl, right? And I come fast. Here's a better example. Let's say I'm talking to a girl and I don't fuck her the way that, to let her know I'm still in charge. That's a better way of putting it. And under that category would be coming fast. So that's one of the things you can do to not fuck a girl the right way. So let's say she tries to use pussy to control me. She's like, maybe if I give him some pussy, he'll be on my neck. Like, oh, he really wants me. He gonna be thirsty for me, right? So if I fuck her the right way, she's gonna be all fucked up now. Cause she's like, oh my god, even in that bedroom, he has power over me. I don't know how to control him. I don't know what to do. I can't figure it out. I cook for him. I clean for him. I buy him stuff. I give him pussy. And he still does not do what I want him to do. It's just not working. Now, the problem with this is you should not be trying to make anybody do anything. When you have sex with someone, it should be because you want to have sex with them, not because you want them to do things for you. And that's what a toxic relationship is. A toxic relationship is when you are not 50-50. It should be, you guys should both meet in the middle right here, right? It shouldn't be 60-40 or 70-30. It shouldn't be that far of an extreme, right? The reason for that is because once you have that extreme, one person becomes too dependent on the other person, right? And that can breed a toxic relationship. Here's why. Just some water because I feel like this is about to come with some heat. Okay. Is the computer still on? So, yeah, 6 minutes. I think we got it. It's pretty good.